Within hours from now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is expected to host a ceremony in the Kremlin to formally declare 4 occupied Ukrainian territories as part of Russia. The territories make up nearly 20% of Ukrainian territory. The action, of course, is viewed by Ukraine and the international community as illegitimate and an illegitimate attempt by Putin to further justify his war. Joining me now is Josh Rogin, foreign policy and national security columnist at The Washington Post. Josh, you and I have had these conversations before about what's going on. This annexation seems like we've been here before.
Right. Putin's style is that he sets up his next series of options. And what he's doing with this annexation is to give himself 2 basic options. One is to establish new facts on the ground in these 2 regions in the east and 2 regions in the south to press the international community, to press the Ukrainians to sue for peace. The other option is by claiming these as Russian territories through these sham elections, he's threatening the West and the Ukrainians that if they continue to attack them, he could escalate. So he's giving himself an escalation option and a de-escalation option. The problem is that either way, it's not going to have the effect that he wants because the Ukrainians are not going to stop fighting while they're winning.
Or negotiate.
Or negotiate because they know that if they were to negotiate and give these provinces to Putin, all the Ukrainians behind those lines would suffer horrible atrocities, and that would not end the war or lead to justice or peace. So we're going to have a few months more of fighting. Winter is coming, but it's not here yet. So until that happens, and as long as the Ukrainians are pushing the offensive, the U.S. and European partners are going to help them press that offensive. So Putin's gambit is likely to fail, but we don't know which of the options he's going to choose, the suing for peace or the escalation, and either one is a pretty dangerous scenario.
Well, so far, one of the choices he's done is to have a draft. And, you know, you're seeing people who are leaving Russia who don't want to be, drafted. They are now seeing some cracks in the propaganda machine. What impact is that having, you think, on this decision?
Sure. Well, there's no doubt that after 7 months of fooling many of the Russian, not all, but many of the Russian people into believing his propaganda, that this was not a war, that the special military operation was going well, that it was going to be over soon, that jig is up, okay? There's no denying once regular Russian people all over the country see their sons and fathers and grandfathers and uncles and brothers herded into a meat grinder with no training and no equipment, there's no more propaganda win. Even the state propagandists can't sit there with a straight face and toe Putin's line. So now he's just flat out telling the Russian people, you're going to like it or lump it. So as the pressure increases inside Russia, again, it could lead to Putin backing down, or it could lead to him pressing the gas button. And what he wants us to think is that if he escalates enough, that we'll back down. But it's too clever by half, because as we just discussed, the reality on the ground in Ukraine is that the Ukrainians are winning, and this would be the exact wrong time for them to respond. And, I feel bad for the millions of Russians who are suffering, but I feel worse for the Ukrainians who are suffering. The Ukrainians are the victims, and the Russians are the collateral damage.
One thing you did mention, you mentioned grandfathers. Putin did come out, in a rare occurrence where he corrected a mistake about the draft, enveloping too many people into his entire thing. One of the things about real quick, the Nord Stream pipeline has been an issue. Is this part of the tactic to try to, from all the fences, try to fortify the resolve that he thinks people are lacking?
Right. So to be clear, we don't know exactly what happened with the sabotage of those pipelines, but U.S. and European officials believe that the Russians blew up their own pipelines, which seems like a crazy thing to do. But again, if you understand how Putin operates, it actually makes perfect sense, because what he's doing is setting up a pretext so he can say, oh, look, I'm the victim. And then he's also threatening to attack European pipelines to set the European countries on a mission of sending their militaries all over the waters to give them busy work and to increase the pressure on them. So while other than Putin and Tucker Carlson, it seems pretty clear that everyone knows that Putin did this himself. And what that means is that he's playing the crazy man card, and he's a little bit crazy, but it doesn't change what we have to do. We have to win the war.
Josh Rogin, thank you so much. Everyone will be right back.